Hello and welcome to the good, the bad, and the ugly, where today we are going to be covering Germany as we head into the 2026 World Cup. Now, Yali, when I look at the good, I look at a team that is so tactically astute. I mean, we saw that this was a team that on paper really didn't really like have the talent or the names to think that they were going to make it very far in the tournament, and yet it took a very questionable handball there to Kukureya and a 120-minute header there from Milko Marino for them to fall short of the Euros in a game where we all believed was going to, or rather should have been the final. There was absolutely no doubt in my mind that Spain and Germany were the two strongest teams. And I don't really think it comes down to the players, but it just comes down to just the tactical awareness, the understanding, the system, the fact that every single player understands their role fantastically well, how smart and gifted they all are in their respective positions and understanding their movements and where they have to be. I mean, it's German football at its finest. You know, playing it's like a well-oiled machine. That doesn't matter what part it has in there, whether good, bad, special. It just keeps running and it delivers a very, very high product. And that is not only the good, but the amazing of this German side.
Yeah, when I look at this team, I mean they play with the clear 4-2-3-1, and the one thing that I think it's just amazing about them is the like you don't really have like many players out of position.
No.
Everybody knows their role. Everybody is like you don't see anybody suffering, like making up for like another guy's like having to be there. Somebody playing like where they're not supposed to. I think they have a great coach, a great tactical coach. I think they have a lot of players that are very technical. They're very smart and I feel like they're not doing anything to hurt themselves, which a lot of teams do that like a lot. That they go there and they start doing things that they're not supposed to. I'm putting players where they're not supposed to just to accommodate for another player. I feel like they kind of understand like where they are and it isn't like at the top of the world of football like they were a few years back. But they're saying, look, I'm not gonna be myself. I'm gonna go out here. You're gonna play what you're supposed to. I'm gonna have a system. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I think that's a structure. And I think that's why they're gonna probably upset some teams that on paper at least are better than them because they're gonna go out there and they're gonna know like what they're doing. Every player's gonna know like
Mm.
their role. Every player's gonna play to the strength, whereas other teams are the complete opposite. And yes, France, I'm talking about you. I think France is a typical team that's gonna go up against Germany and they're gonna lose just on the fact that Germany tactically knows what they're doing, their players are in the right spot, and a team like France is not gonna have that same quality to themselves.
I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. And you know, like the bad of this German side is that very clearly they don't have probably like a single world class player. You can maybe make an argument here or there, maybe a Rudiger here or Musiala there, but I think Musiala, since he had that horrific injury, has not been the same
Yeah.
player. So, you know, really, really good players, but they don't have a game changer. They don't really have a very clear talisman. And as much as that is the bad of this German side, they've understood that, they've recognized it, and they said, we're going to be a very good unit. We're going to be a very big team. This is not going to be an 11 of individuals. It's just going to be one very, very good team. It's like 11 cogs all doing what they got to do, and they're making that machine turn, they're making that machine run, and they're going to be play at a very, very, very high level. And I agree. I mean, the watch our World Cup prediction video if you haven't already. We do have a very big upset, depending on, of course, if the group stage works out the way that we do. And we do think that probably the biggest upset of the tournament is going to be Germany beating France in the quarterfinal, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe round of 16 actually.
In
So
the round of 16,
that's
yeah.
how round of 16. That's how highly we rate this German team. And I think the only reason they're going to fall short is when they run into teams that have equally good systems, but just a little bit better quality. But it's going to be those teams that have all the names and all the talents in the world, but don't have the right balance and haven't been able to understand that it's about the team and not the individual, which this German team exemplifies probably better than anybody. That those are the ones that they're going to beat, and those are the ones that they're going to triumph over.
Yeah, I think even when they were like really good, everybody like used to always talk about a great machine, right? But they were never looked at as this like team of individuals because they never really had like a top three, top five player in the world. But yet those guys that were on the play back then were still top five in their positions, and that's
Yeah.
why they were just the perfect team because everybody knows like knew they were on top of the world class player. That's the difference that we have now. Everybody knows their role. They're green machines. They just don't have those players that are
Yeah.
at that level. That this was supposed to be like Musiala's World Cup. And like you said, that injury, he is the only guy that I believe has the talent to even come close to a world class player. But if anybody has seen him play since that injury, it's actually kind of sad in a way. He looks like 25% of the player that he used to be. But I do think that they're going to help in the sense that they're not going to ask him to do too much. They're going to stay together as a unit. And that's what it is. Their strong suit is going to be that. Our strong suit is going to be our tactical awareness. It's going to be the fact that we're not going to rely on anybody. We're not going to beat ourselves, and they're going to take their chances. So yeah, that's sort of like the thing where it's like, man, you just wish that this team had just a few more guys, because I do think like the only guy that could maybe be at that level is Joshua Kimmich. But I'm done that. Like you can't really look at a player and say, okay, this guy is a top 5 player in his position in the
He's
world.
my game changer. He's my game changer. That's what it
Yeah,
is. They don't have that.
yeah,
And
yeah. They
that's
don't
the
have a game
ugly.
changer.
And that's the ugly, right? Because it's just like how does a nation like Germany not have that? How does a nation like Germany not have a top 5 player in each position? I mean, that's the ugly really is that this unfortunately this generation for Germany is really poor. Is really really poor to think, right, that 10 years ago in 2014, you had that World Cup where that team was so stacked. Their B team alone was probably better than every other team there. And then maybe just a generation later, they don't really have the players to show for it. And it translates to everything. It translates to, I think, the quality of Bundesliga, the lack of amount of actual German players that there are, even in teams like Bayern Munich. I mean, how many German teams are in that starting 11 for Bayern Munich right now compared to where it used to be before? So you just see a decline from the level of German talent, and it's a very very sad thing to see that a country like Germany has such a poor generation of footballing talent. And I think it's one that needs to change. It's one that I definitely hope changes. But if there's one thing that will never change about Germany is this tactical understanding, this very clear identity to their style of play, their system, their beliefs, how they approach the game, and that's going to be the difference maker for them to at least give themselves a proper run. And if you get a little bit of momentum and things go your way, you never know. But just such a shame that they don't have the generation of players to do something more in this World Cup.
Yeah, this generation has been pretty bad for them. If you just go and look at pretty much like Manuel Neuer is back and go, they haven't been able to like to produce a good right back so like Kimmich could go back to his natural position in the middle.
Yeah.
Their center backs and they don't have a left back. And then the quote unquote guys that of this generation like Musiala and Florian Wirtz who have actually sort of produced, the one big problem is that they're not consistent players, and that is the total opposite of what like your typical German player is. And the perfect guy is Thomas Muller, who was this is the guy that wasn't like the easiest guy on the eye. He wasn't the most like the fastest or the most technical player, but he was consistent. His performances like you knew that he was always going to give you a 7 out of 5, like a 7.5 out of 10 every game. And these guys are they're capable of giving you a 9, an 8, but also like capable of giving you a 3 and just being disciplined like
They'll
the whole
lose
game.
you the game as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it's a shame.
exactly. So their generation, it's absolutely even. I think I like Kai Havertz, but they don't even have a striker. And to be fair, let's not act like they always had Ronaldo Phenomenal and all these type of strikers. But they always created how you little like Miroslav Klose and those type of players. Do you know? Oh, just like now, like close it out, even like on the fact that we're talking about like the generation. How can you guess who's the right winger for this World Cup?
Don't tell me it's Sane, is it? No,
It is Sane. It is Sane.
isn't that guy playing
That
in
pretty much
Galatasaray or something?
in Turkey, yes. That pretty much tells you how stuck they are in that they just can't produce like players. They just
Yeah.
can't. That Leroy Sané, who was amazing. I remember in 2018, that's when he got let out of the World Cup, and it was like a big deal. 8 years later, he's still there. Hasn't been at a top club for like what 2 seasons now.
And he's a
Plays in Turkey,
starter.
which let's be honest, is like it's a pre like
Pre
retirement league.
MLS.
That's the
Pre
league that you
MLS.
go to. Yeah, exactly like before you go to Saudi or the MLS, and he's your starter. That just pretty much tells you and
That
sums
tells
up
you everything.
this,
That tells you everything.
that just tells you everything about this German team.
Yeah. If there's something that we haven't said, and if there's something else that we need to know, Would love to know what you guys have to say. Leave us down in the comments if there's anything that we should know about this German side, things that we left out, things that we're not aware of, maybe some important factors that are either going to contribute to them having a more successful World Cup or an embarrassing one. Would love to know what you guys have to offer. Catch you on the next one.